Okay guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm in the shop, as you can tell, and I'm going to show you how I am going to make my railing for my staircase. This is something that I know you can just go to the store and buy railing, or not railing, top rail, and you can just put it in, but you know what? I didn't like what was out there. So I don't know if anyone looks around, but most of the railing, or the top rails that are out there for the stairs, they're mainly like this. So they have, so you're basically running your hand like on a half circle sort of deal. So I really didn't like the look of them. So this is one of my old rails. Actually, the other one got destroyed. Yeah, it's unusable. I'm gonna use it because it is oak. So this whole thing is oak, and I kind of liked the way it is. So if you can look at it, it's not, most of them are up like this. This is actually a concave one. So it's got a little dish in the middle. I kind of like that. And I also wanted something to stay with the house. So like, for instance, instead of modernizing the trim, the base, the casings, I'm trying to keep it somewhat dated to the period. I'm updating some things, but I'm keeping other things original, just so the house has character still. And this railing, I think, is part of the character. So that's what I'm doing. So I played with a couple things on how I could make it a little dish. So I started with like bits like this, where I can dish out the middle of a piece of whatever, and try like that. This didn't really work out very well. It was 50 bucks that I can't really use this. Well, I could, but for what, I don't know. I tried just simple routers with different bits. I played around a lot because I have a lot of these kind of blocks sitting around, so I just kind of experimented with these. I squared them up and off I went. And then I decided with the table saw. I was like, well, what if I used like a 5 degree or 10 or 15 degree angle on it? It worked out. So this is the first prototype that I made. And as you can see, it's got the dish in it. And all it is a squared piece of, I don't even know what this is, pine, spruce, whatever it is. Squared it up. I put a line down the middle. I put my table saw, I think I started with 15 degrees. Okay, so this is not the first one. First one's in the fire pit now. And I thought that was a little extreme. It was too much of a gouge in, and it didn't really flow enough. So I tried 10 degrees and it seemed to work pretty good. So that's what I did. So I made this one. This is at the correct 41 degrees for my railing. That's up there now. And yeah, so I'm gonna show you how to make this. It's not hard at all. And for the cost, so for instance, my top rail is just over 6 feet. I think it's 6'2" for both sections. I split it up. If I did a full big one, I think it was too flimsy, so that's why I opted to put something in the center. And everything that's out there is either 6, 8, or 12. So for a 6 foot, it wouldn't have made it, but not enough material. So I had to go with the 8 foot. Oh wait, no, there is no 8 foot. There's 6 and 12. That's it. So I'd have to get two 12 footers at 120 bucks a piece. This wood, I think it cost me 18 bucks. Glued it up. Yes, it's glued up. Big deal. It's getting painted anyways. So everything's getting painted except for the treads, which are already stained, and the balusters, which are going to be wrought iron. Everything else is getting painted, so I didn't care. So this is poplar. And I already cut this one and the other one, I cut the tops. So this one already has 10 degrees in it. It feels good. There's no issues. A little bit of sanding and off you go. Next is going to be routering the edges for the roundovers. Like that. And then after that is going to be cutting these angles. And these angles are 20 degrees. 20 degrees. And again, all of this you can play, that's what I would suggest. Something that you like, just get some scrap wood and start playing with it. Most important thing, has to be square. 3 sides have to be square. Top doesn't have to be square. Bottom of the 2 sides have to be square in order for this to work. And for when you cut your second angle cut, it'll actually break off and there'll be hardly anything there. So, like I said, you gotta play around a little bit, but I'll show you. And I haven't decided fully on what the bottom's gonna be. I did this. Maybe you can see it. Yeah, I did this with the router, kind of played around with it. I'm not sure if I like it. I don't want that where it's just solid piece. I want to put something in here, but I haven't decided what. But I'll show you how to do it, and we'll kind of go from there. So let's get started. All right. So this is the first step. Before you make this, have to square this. So like I said, I suggest buying like a 4x4, squaring it up 3 sides, not the top. You don't have to square the top because that's what you're cutting. So that way your bottom rides the fence, your side rides the table saw table, and you cut into the top. So now we go to the second step. So once you get this squared up, then the first thing you have to do is take it, mark your center line on your top, because you're going to need that in order for your saw height or your blade height. So that way you have, and it's got to be pretty close to center, because what you're doing is you're going to cut this way, you're going to flip it the other way and cut the other end. So you got to make sure that they're pretty damn close to center. So go ahead and do that. Make sure it's center. And then what you got to do after that is you got to take your piece. Now imagine this is just a rough piece and this fence is pretty far back. This is right now at the settings for the ones I already made. For the tops. I haven't done anything else. I just did the tops. So once you get the line marked on it, you put it in there, you inch your fence close to it, and you make sure that your height is good, so that you're not taking your pencil mark out, just barely taking your pencil mark out. That's what you want. Don't take it out, because when you flip it over, you're going to gouge the other side. Once you get that height set, my suggestion would be to take your fence and move it closer and closer until you get the desired depth, because the closer you get, the deeper she's going to go. So for instance, this one is at 3/16 deep here. The first one I did was only 1/8. The original railing is like less than 1/8, maybe at 3/32. But the one I made is deeper. It's probably about 220 thou, almost a 1/4 inch, because I like the contour. So it's all desired, whatever you want, and that's why I tell you, get some 4x4s, cut them up, experiment. Once you get a setting that you like, write it all down. So we'll get that set up, your height, and then you inch your fence closer to the desired depth on one side. And then once you get it to where you like the depth, flip her over, cut her again, see what you got. So do that and we'll go to the next step. So you've done that. You have a nice concave surface, and all you have to do is like a little bit of sanding, well, maybe a little bit more, just depending if it's going to be a finished stain piece or if it's just going to be a painted piece. It's totally up to whatever you're looking at. Next is going to be doing the roundovers, because you need the roundovers before you cut these angles. Because with these angles you have to kind of sneak up on them a little bit. So it's a little bit of cut, a little bit of cut, a little bit of cut, until you find where it looks good and it functions, and yeah, it's one of those things. So first thing, you're going to need a router table. You're going to need a decent sized router. I would not suggest doing this freehand with say a fence, because you're not going to get the result that you want. Table within, like a router table within, either by itself or in the table saw. So you get round over bit, 1/2 inch round over bit, and then when you set it down, you set it down so that way whatever you're cutting is going to be against the fence, and then you cut it away. Simple. So do that and we'll come back and go from there. All right, so you now have your radiuses on the top. Next is to cut these angles. Now these are two different examples. One is, this is a 20-degree angle. Like I said, you experiment with these little things. It's something that you like. And then this one's a 15-degree angle. So I'm gonna go with a 15-degree angle because, I don't know, I just like it. Plus it gives you a little bit more material on the bottom for when you, well, it depends on what you're going to do with your balusters. Mine are getting screwed right to here, and then they're getting slotted into the bottom. That's how I'm doing it. Everyone else is different. Some of them have the slot cut and you put in, say, glass or wood balusters, or I'm going wrought iron. So that's my choice. Not everybody has the same choice, but so then it's just a matter of taking your fence, putting your piece in, and figuring out how much stock you want to take off. I would do this slowly. So on your scrap piece, or your whatever piece you're gonna call it, prototype, I would inch up on it really slowly. If you have a couple of them, then go nuts. Make a big cut, make a small cut, doesn't matter. This is what you like. I'm doing it the way I want to do it. You can do it any which way you want. You want a 5-degree angle, you want a 25-degree angle, totally up to you. This is how I'm doing it. So just inch up on it until you get it to the point where this and this are going to be pretty smooth. Like right now you can see that there's not too many, it's hard to see on camera, that there's not a step here. It's a pretty smooth transition. That's what you want. You want a pretty smooth transition. So we'll do that, and hopefully I'll figure out by then what I want to do with this side. Again, we're going to experiment with these little guys. So I already know what I'm doing with the angle, so I'm actually going to cut my pieces right now. So I'm at the point I made 3 prototypes. And I put them on my socials and asked everyone to vote which one they liked. Now unfortunately I only had 2 of them because a friend of mine came over and liked one of my prototypes and took it for him. So it's kind of funny. So the prototype that ended up winning, and I like all of them, I just couldn't decide on which one, is this one that had the most detail on it. That's the one that won. So everything to here is the same. I'm gonna show you what bits it took to make it. So far the top is done, it's rounded over, and I dished out some of the side. To dish it out, use this bit. And all you do is you want to get close enough. You don't want to go too high because then you're just cutting into this too much. You want to go so that way you don't take any more off this bottom. That's the whole point. I don't want to take any more off this bottom, like the short and the sidewall. So I'm just coming in and doing this, and to clean this little bit up, I'm gonna take my table saw and kind of just buzz a little bit. It's not gonna be a big deal. The next bit, so you got your round over bit. That's for the tops. That's for all your radiuses. And then the bit that I have in there now is similar to this one. So this one is going to create, if I can show you, this one's going to create this. So it indents a little bit further. Just a little detail, nothing gigantic. So I have a shorter version of this in my router right now, getting all set up and ready to go. So that creates this. And then the last little bit is going to be creating this little profile right here. Now, this is optional. Everyone has different tastes and different things, so I use this little guy. Not anything dramatic, just go in there and dish her out a couple times and there you go, you're done. Those are the bits that I use to create this. And I'm liking it. I like the detail on it. It's not too much, it's not gaudy, it's not too big, it's not too small. I might shrink it a little bit this way. So I might take it in the planer and take some off the bottom. But that's not 100%. That's not 100% yet. So I'll show you footage on that. I'll set up a table saw and give you stuff on that, and the railing will be almost done. Then it's just sanding and cleaning up and all that fun stuff. So let's get to it. At this point, all I'm doing at the table saw is taking out a little corner. So it's hard to see because of how long this thing is. But if you can imagine, so it's this little bit right here from the router bits. So just find an angle that you like and trim it out little by little, just work to it. It just prevents you from scraping it, and scraping and sanding is not fun when you have to do a lot of it. And with these rails being 6 foot, you got 12 foot of railing, you're gonna have to sand and scrape. So I opted just to trim it out and go from there. Makes it a lot easier. So let's get going. All right, so the last thing to do on this, and it all depends on where you like it. This is the little generator bit. So this is the last thing I need to router in, and it's going to be, you can see it, it's going to be that line right there. and that gives it a little bit of definition. Doesn't stick out like a sore thumb. Just something different. Like I said, this is railing that normally most people don't see. You don't see this in a store. This is a little old school. I like the design, and that's why I went with it, because it's different and not shocking where, oh my god, that's a railing. No, this is not what this is going to be. This is something that I liked, so I made it. And now, with the help of these videos, hopefully you can make it if you have all the tooling. So that's pretty much it for this. I'm gonna cut this little piece and, well, cut my 2 rails, and that'll be pretty much it. As far as depth, just enough to make it look nice. And then at some point, depending on the balusters I choose, I might have to router a slot in here for them to sit, and then make some trim pieces to fill in. Not sure yet. If that happens, whatever. It's all it is a straight bed. Cut it in, I don't know, inch and a half, inch and a quarter, inch, whatever. And then mount everything up. So it all depends on the balusters that I choose. So that's it from here. This is how you make this. Go make it if you like it. If you like it, give it a thumbs up. Subscribe, please. Because there is a lot more stuff coming, including some new tools. I'm not disclosing them yet. There is Genesis stuff coming. I'm just waiting on parts. And hit the little bell icon. It'll let you know when I release videos, which I wish it would be a lot more, but it is what it is. Time, you know? So, see this? I want to see people make it. You like this video, and you're gonna make it? Please, shoot me a video back of you making it, or some pictures, or something. Because I want to see if people actually make this, because I like it. I think it's very nice. And compared to everything else on the market right now, different. So, that's it from the shop. So, have a good one, and I see you next time.